want to see if Paul and Morgan
What's up?
actually, they kind of just talk about what is a woman. They don't like show clips of it and react to it. This video just looks kind of boring. I kind of want to see it though.
Guys, how you doing? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
Today's video, we are asking not the age-old question.
What's a woman? I need to know. Okay. If any fucking right-wingers try to like corner you with that dumbass argument, it's very simple. It's someone who identifies as such.
Obama.
It's very simple. You know, gender is a social construct. Gender is a performance. It's not hardwired into your DNA. Your sex is, but even that is malleable and is not binary. So,
Because it's actually a very new question,
Yeah.
which is, what is a woman? Am I a woman? Are you a woman? How do we know?
one of you is. I guess we'll find out which one. PSA to report any what is a woman ads you might get for breaking YouTube TOS with promoting hatred. Sure. I didn't even know you could. I mean, I knew you could do that, and you wouldn't see them as much anymore. But I didn't know. I don't know if it'll work. But yeah, you could try. Yeah. You guys want to know my gender?
Obama.
Well, Matt Walsh made this. He spent some time. It feels like he made this documentary relatively quick because there's like so many current events and stuff.
Get that dog off the damn couch. He's gonna knock over your fucking 5 identical plants that you have all in the same pot.
Feels like that, but at the same time, like it was a quality. I'm just saying, like it was a quality documentary.
Very good.
Why does it feel like he's like constantly walking on eggshells? I'm just saying, it was a quality documentary. I'm saying.
Exploring this topic, man, like it is a powerhouse. It's the type of documentary
It's
that
not.
as I'm watching, a few things pop through my mind, and we're about to get to a lot. We're about to unpack a lot, but it's like, man, what a brave dude to be able to put this documentary out. And
No, Matt Walsh is a pussy. He's like the biggest pussy imaginable. I'm gonna take my jacket off. It's warm. Matt Walsh is a huge pussy. Matt Walsh looks like my old poli-sci professor. The only difference was my professor sent my Twitter viral for having his fuck Nazis in his syllabus. That's cool. I appreciate that. I put that in my syllabus. That's in my stream syllabus.
2022, and also the people that he's interviewing that are very like pro gender gender fluidity and
Pro gender.
stuff. How did he get interviews with them?
I know.
People like don't mind talking about these things. You know, I'm sure you guys could talk to somebody who is a trans or maybe even a, God forbid, a trans supporter. Not that hard.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Granted, several of them walked out, so it felt a little bit like
one, really.
Yeah, one, as far as I'm aware. One walked out, and it's because it was a hostile interview.
there was a couple that, okay,
3 of them threatened to walk out. One of them actually walked out.
all right, well, we're going to get to some clips. We're going to give thoughts. Man,
Yes.
this is going to be
Yes.
packed. It's going to be packed.
Yes, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. We're giving commentary on culture, social issues, and faith to help you be in the world.
But of the word. Let's do this. Shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys for supporting the channel
fuck up.
monthly. On the documentary, so Matt Walsh is really in the line of fire here. But just talking about this stuff, being bold on these topics, we don't know if this
He's not in the line of fire. No one gave a shit. You know what I mean? Like, nobody actually gave a shit. His documentary came out, a bunch of people clowned on it, and that was it. And nobody has talked about it since.
video is going to get demonetized. We don't know. We just don't know. Like, the powers at be are not fans of
The powers at be.
perspectives.
And that's not true. I mean, YouTube... Fucking Steven Crowder is one of YouTube's biggest earners. Ben Shapiro. You know what I mean? Like, Tim Pool, massively successful. Jake Paul has fucking really reactionary opinions now, too. It pays more because leftists get banned with much less thought. Because leftists don't constantly fucking shit themselves about free speech. And there's no organization in leftist circles. So you can ban a group of leftists, and what the fuck are they gonna do? You ban a group of right-wingers, and you get fucking psychos with guns in front of your fucking office buildings.
Like what we are about to have. So help us out, comment, share this video, and give it a thumbs up. It means a lot. All right, let's go.
Yeah, also there's no capital backing leftists. Exactly.
Oh, Morgan. So let's just start off. Play a little bit. It's like 20 seconds of the actual trailer, and we link the full trailer below.
Thank God.
You got it.
What is a woman trailer?
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that?
Matt Walsh is also like so uncharismatic. He cannot lead a show like this because when he says, "What is a woman?" it doesn't come across as like a genuine, like philosophical, biological, whatever question. It comes across as a man who actually doesn't know. It comes across like a man who like is like learning English for the first time and doesn't know the definition. Like he has no charisma, he has no ability to deliver it in like a snarky way. He's also very afraid to be contentious, so he's very awkward. He's a bad interviewer. That's why he kept getting people threatening to walk out, because he's so bad he can't do like confrontational journalism because he's a pussy.
I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4. I host a talk show. I give speeches. I write books.
Yeah, and he does all this and he still can't talk to someone who disagrees with him without sounding like a fucking middle schooler giving a fucking presentation in front of the class.
I like to make sense of things. A woman is not anything in particular.
There is not one particular thing.
It could be many things to many people.
Some women have penises.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's one way to end it.
So people did define it for you. The whole purpose of his documentary is that like he's fucking like nobody could give me an answer, and it's like, yeah, but they are though. They are multiple answers. You just don't like the answer.
So I think she was about to say some women have penises, some men have vaginas.
Got it. Great.
Okay. You know, there's more intersex people than gingers, right? Not even talking about trans people. So, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you guys need to go watch the full trailer and then go watch the whole documentary.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking intersex people. To varying degrees, of course. But, like, what are you gonna tell that person? If you have a penis, you can't be a woman. Like, conservatives just ignore that shit.
Over on the Daily Wire, you do have to subscribe to, like, their monthly thing. It's $14 a month if you want to do it like monthly, or $12 a month if you want to do it annually. I feel like this was absolutely worth signing up for and paying $14 for. Like one.
What if they paid for the Daily Wire subscription and then like Paul starts watching more and more like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro, and he just goes down this like fucking hardcore right-wing pipeline. Like he's already a right-winger, obviously, because he's Christian. But his right-wing perspective comes from like a naivety and a being like living in a bubble and living in a place of privilege. But like he just starts getting like malicious. He just turns into like a Nazi. Dark Paul and Morgan era. Yeah, and Morgan's on like Valium or something. Like she's gone.
1,000%, you guys do it. Even if you just do it for 1 month, pay the $14 and watch this documentary.
They put some time, energy, money into this documentary, so I'm grateful. What is a woman? Man, like so many directions that we could go here, and I do have a.
Why don't you guys give us an answer to that? All these motherfuckers keep asking questions. Answer a fucking question, asshole.
Few more clips to play. Pull up the picture of Matt Walsh. So you guys are pretty familiar with Matt Walsh. He is a controversial figure because
pathetic little loser.
He's one of those guys that does not sugarcoat. So at the beginning of the documentary, he kind of like, he does not sugarcoat stuff. But what a perfect guy. I do think God uses God. There's so many different people in the kingdom of God, and it's a beautiful thing.
Are there any trans people there? Or intersex people? Any non-binary people in the kingdom of God? If an angel can be represented as a fucking wheel, a fucking Hot Wheels toy, it's on fire. What gender is that? God is non-binary? I mean, the Christian God is not, because the Christian God did not make women by hand. The Christian God made man in his own image and women from the rib of Adam. So technically, women are a creation of man who are a creation of God.
And there's some that are just so empathetic and really like relatable and get down on maybe these people's level that are struggling with the gender confusion. And then there's just kind of some wrecking balls that
don't even give a shit what they think. Don't even listen. They just fucking go in there and start fucking swinging around, fucking killing people.
Like also are used, in my opinion, for the kingdom of God. And we kind of see different personality types and stuff in scripture. But Matt Walsh is the wrecking ball type.
Definitely. I just kind of wonder, does he ever smile or laugh? Because he's just so like.
No, I don't think so. He's a sociopath.
I bet off camera he laughs.
Yeah. I was like thinking like if he ever interviewed me, I'd be so intimidated because
Why? He's not intimidating. He looks like a little weasel. If Matt Walsh is a member of the kingdom of God, I welcome hell. Yeah.
We're like giggling and laughing and he'd be like, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy hates me.
That's part of his stick, is he's interviewing these
his stick.
People that he's asking these questions to, and you know that he knows the answers to the questions, but he's asking them to honestly show the lunacy by getting them to answer. And some of these debates, if you will, some of these, I guess it's
What was it he said earlier that YouTube doesn't like to hear other perspectives? And that's so fucked up. Please give us like so much money. Please. Meanwhile, you're like, Matt Walsh just cuts right through the lunacy of trans people existing. What are you doing? Do what I want with your genders.
it's more of just
The
like
interviews.
interviews. Some of them get pretty interesting, and we're about to hit on some of that.
Literally every single interview gets very interesting.
And honestly, like Morgan and I were just talking about it, the documentary is heavy. Like this is heavy subject matter, and I just do want to say, like, it was yesterday I mentioned posting something about Pride Month, and Morgan encouraged me. What did you encourage me to do, babe?
to pray before you post. Yeah.
Guys, remember to pray before you post. That's a great piece of advice, just in general.
I feel like, you know, during this specific month of Pride Month or whatever, it's easy to want to hop on the train of like posting like against Pride Month, and I'm not against that by all means, but I think before you post, or even without even thinking about posting, like, you guys, we should really be lifting this community up in prayer, and we should I mean, like, going into this, watching this documentary, I was not prepared, honestly, for it to be as like heavy as it was.
It was.
Which I don't know why it wasn't, because it is an incredibly heavy topic of just seeing.
What's heavy about it, man? Just that people like are different than you? She's not against people being anti-pride. Of course not. Free speech, man. She's anti-pride, ultimately. She just doesn't want to say it. Why did he pressure her to say what she wanted to post?
The minds of people and how far gone they are, in my opinion. Like, it's insane.
And I'm going to choose to say God can redeem. God can open eyes. He can completely transform lives. But it is, some of these people, you look at the stuff they're saying and the way that they're saying it, the way their mind works, and it is like, it's hard to comprehend. And that's kind of what Morgan is saying.
Yeah.
Because you guys are stupid. So of course you can't comprehend what the fuck like is a trans person, you know? He can what form lives? Yeah, I don't think he would say trans.
In this, just like from the very beginning, honestly, I very quickly was just reminded of Romans 1, and just how throughout Romans 1, Paul is talking about basically how God has handed people over to their sin and their
depravity?
Yeah, their depravity. And it's, to me, it's just like, I was watching that through all of these interviews, or most of these interviews that Matt had with these doctors and these professors and these people, these advocates.
These are the professionals of our society.
So yeah, maybe they know a little more than you, and maybe Matt, like, I don't know, is like a little disingenuous with the way he presents their arguments, you know?
Yeah.
So to speak.
And to me, it was like, holy moly. These people have lost all common sense. And this, to me, was like the...
There's something like, it's extremely egotistical how transphobes just like cannot accept that they're wrong. Transphobes cannot wrap their heads around the fact that they are the ones who are out of touch. And it's not because of some like cultural shift. It's just because science has been fucking like not accepted. It's from like decades of scientific and research oppression in regards to trans medicine, because people like you think it's weird. And that's it. Yeah, and of course you're saying like that I feel sorry for them. It's like, no, you don't. If you feel sorry for them, you want to help them. No, Ethan, you don't get it. It's logical to be transphobic because they're going to dig up all our bones. If you genuinely feel bad for people, you don't go out of your way to make life as difficult and hurtful for them as possible, even if you don't agree with them. I would argue that this is like a core aspect of like actual Christianity, that even people who you don't see eye to eye with still deserve not to like be miserable and deserve to live fulfilling and like joyous lives on their own. So you, with a platform, intentionally getting in the way of that and intentionally advocating that not only are their social lives miserable, but their actual like health is consistently at risk and their safety is consistently at risk. There is nothing more evil than that, apart from just killing them yourselves. Extremely ridiculous. And I mean, I don't need to say this. It's you know, very common Christian thing. You can make the same argument about gay people.
The perfect image of what it looks like to be handed over to your depravity. Heartbreaking.
Like, what is depraved about being trans? What is depraved about identifying outside of gender norms or outside of like societal expectations of you? Like, do you think it's a sex thing? Because it's not. It actually makes like dating for a lot of people much more difficult. My mom was really into progressive Christianity. Her POV is that Jesus talked to prostitutes, lepers, and the outcasts of society and treated them with kindness. Then she draws a parallel between queer folks, refugees, and the other people conservatives are scared of. Yeah, the very sexual aspect of being trans. I feel like they think everything's a sex thing. Yeah, I mean, these people have a sex schedule. Like anything outside of their understanding when it comes to sexuality is like, it's got to be some depravity. Those plants are a sex thing. Yeah.
It is so sad, and I just have a very heavy heart right now.
That's one of the reasons we're choosing to.
Her heart's heavy because Paul is consistently pumping her full of fucking depressants.
Talk about this documentary. Some people will be like, Paul Morgan, why are you talking about it? And even when we talked about like pronouns in our bios, we talked about should Christians engage in putting pronouns in our bios in a few videos back, and it has just been stormed with hate comments. Like,
yeah, because it's a fucking dumbass take. Unless they said like you should. They talk a lot about how much hate they get, and I think it's funny. I want to see if they've said anything recently, because I know right around the time I made a video about them, it was right before I made my video, they were talking about like how hard everything is for them. Would Jesus put pronouns in bio? It's 18K views. Come on.
what's up, guys? How you doing?
Ooh, that's saucy. I like that. People like you are the reason people are leaving the Christian faith in droves. It's the funniest shit I've seen in a while. Until you both could speak and write so fluently in Aramaic, I wouldn't get into these ideas of whether Jesus would write pronouns in his bio. I don't even know if Aramaic has pronouns. Bro, Jesus didn't have an Instagram. Jesus didn't even have Christianity. That's a great point. Yeah, I'm gonna go around mugging people. Give me all your pronouns. You're now non-binary. Is it the same 4 plants? Yes, it's 5. There's one behind Paul too.
I don't even respond to the comments on it anymore because it's just swarmed. But it's like all this stuff is connected. However trivial you want to make it, it is connected and it's very real. And one of the guys in the documentary, he was like a 40-year-old biological female that transitioned, and he was speaking out and saying he's just kind of the immense pain and struggle and corruption around this industry.
How terrible it was, and how they like.
So yeah, wouldn't you want to make it better? The fuck are you advocating for? Yeah, also the trans industry. Was this person talking about how hard it is to transition in America because it's fucking expensive and really hard to do it without getting killed? Or is this person a fucking detransitioner that was like, you know what? It was hard.
He completely regrets like transitioning,
and now he speaks out against it. But one
piece of shit
thing he said was, what he maybe mentioned, like, this was 30 years ago. What chance do our youths of today
My coworker
even
went
have?
on an hour-long rant to me about how her middle school child is being pressured into being trans.
By whom? Who the fuck is pressuring them into being trans? Regardless of if you detransition or not, it's still difficult to transition. Yeah. And me when I lie. Other middle schoolers. Sure. Okay. Yeah, they're both using different pronouns for this person. Yeah, if only they had them in the bio. He's not a detransitioner. He had a bad outcome from surgery, which sucks, but he's one guy and full of shit too. I had a spat with him on Twitter and he's a fucking idiot, I'm sure. So he's not even saying like, don't transition. He just like had a bad surgery. So like, what the fuck is his... So he had a bad surgery and now he's like, you know what? No one should have any surgery. What? Why not say maybe we should make the surgery, maybe we should do more like research. Maybe we should have better surgeons. Maybe, you know, anything other than just like stopping it. Like, what a fucking childish mentality. He sounds like a grifter. No one is taking your child's breasts. Please stop talking about them.
Because of how much culture has embraced this. What chance do they even have? And we're here saying, like, encouraging you guys, go watch this documentary, and we're giving our 2 cents using scripture and just doing our best to jump into the conversation because we feel like it is worth it. Yeah. We feel like it's absolutely worth it. So,
worth it?
Morgan, why don't we play the clip? So Matt, in one of the interviews, I believe this was a professor at Tennessee University of like gender studies or something along those lines.
Oh my God, they're just gonna play the one that went viral?
Interview. It was one where I think you'll see in this clip. It's only a short portion of it, but the guy starts to get pretty uncomfortable, pretty ticked, and he threatens to walk out.
Yeah, because Matt Walsh is not only a bad interviewer, but he's trying to do contentious journalism, and he's trying to like be like aggressive to like live up to his principles of wanting to literally murder trans people with his bare hands. But he's bad at it. So you just get this like socially awkward, like weird asshole who's like, so what is a woman? You know, what do you think biologically defines a woman? It's like anyone sitting there is going to be like, yeah, you're just making a fucking ass out of yourself. And this is a waste of my time because clearly you're not here to actually have a discussion. Clearly you're here to just fucking agitate and get some like answer that doesn't make any sense that you can cut out. Like he wasn't actually having conversations with these people, because if he was, his mind would have been changed because he was given several answers that all made sense.
But play a little bit of that. They're talking about the truth. What is truth?
I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of like getting to the truth. Again, in social life. Because it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me. And if you keep probing, we're gonna stop the interview.
He's not. He's like, the truth. The truth is transphobic. It's like, yeah, the way you're using it. It's like talking about like race realism and someone being like, I don't like the way you're using realism. What, realism is racist? Yeah, in the way that you're using it, yeah, it is. Matt Walsh has conversations with the randos on the street in his movie that make him look dumb. Yeah.
If I probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude.
True. Okay, yeah, just cut him off, man.
It was such a strange interaction, in my opinion.
You keep evoking the word truth, and these guys, like in many of these interviews, are so like, in a sense, well spoken, and yet
the cuts. Who's editing this? If you're talking about like the cuts between the movie and this, it's live edited, but also the documentary is not edited well either.
They are so off. Like it's shocking.
It's shocking.
And Matt Walsh ends up asking that guy, okay, so you're obviously, here's where you stand. If I were to say, because he asks him, like, what is a woman? And the guy can't answer.
He does, though.
Okay, so...
He does, though. He answers later. He says someone who identifies as a woman. And then Matt Walsh is like, what is that? What is it? What does that mean? When, like, what a woman is defined by whatever culture and society that you're living in, There's not a universal definition. Because if you say someone who can give birth, okay, they're infertile women. You say someone with a vagina, okay, you're talking about intersex people or trans people. Or if, like, if someone is in an accident and their, like, vulva is destroyed, are they not a woman anymore? Someone who's born with a vagina, okay. Again, you're going back to intersex and trans people. They have no concept of biology, yeah. Like,
if I were to say, hey, I'm a black man, refer to me as a black man, could you do it? And the guy, yeah. Then I think that's a great question.
Well, the response was, yeah, I don't think that's true. And Matt Walsh says, well, what if someone said that? And he says, the professor says, yeah, people can lie sometimes. It's possible for people to lie.
Yeah. He didn't really
had a hysterectomy, not a woman, asshole.
Really have a response to that, and it was it was just very revealing to me of like the fact that all of their arguments are just like so weak and built on so much emotion. That's what I just noticed throughout every one of these, like...
Dude, you literally went on a tirade earlier about how sad you are because you think these people are wrong and how you feel so bad for them. Literally your arguments are based on emotion. The emotion that you won't even say is that I don't like it because it's weird.
Advocates for transitioning and anyone can be a woman, yada yada, was most of their argument.
It's not even that like anyone can be a woman. It's that if you fucking identify as a woman, then you're a woman. It's not like not everybody will identify as a woman. So not everybody is or can be a woman. Does that not make sense? Like, how do you not understand this? Like, if you feel that you're a woman and you identify as such, that's all you need. Yeah, where do they find out that A5 people naturally have testosterone and assigned male at birth people have estrogen? Yeah, are you the genital police?
Arguments were built off of emotion, not scientific facts.
And that's the thing, too. They say, like, pro-trans people arguments are built off of emotion when, like, you define gender as, like, what I can tell from looking at you with your clothes on. You see someone who looks like a woman, meaning that they have a bust, they have wide hips, and long hair. There are men that look like that. I'm sorry. But, like, You're not going to look at someone's genitals. You can't look at someone's chromosomes, and you're not going to look inside them to see if they have a uterus. So your idea of gender is defined strictly by what people look like out on the street with clothes on, versus what someone says about themselves based on their own internal biology and their own DNA and their own brain chemistry. Like, who do you think knows better here? Morgan? Yeah, chromosomal abnormalities exist too. And there are trans people that are assigned male at birth that have female chromosomes and vice versa. And again, intersex people. What the fuck do you have to say about that?
In truth. Which they can't even explain what truth is because they're not living in reality.
It's incredible to me, and I think it is some of them. I think there are some genuinely corrupt, devious people, but some they are like they're thinking in their mind because of the tides of culture and just indoctrination. It's been ingrained in them that like
who, where, what's the indoctrination? Indoctrination and normalization are two very different things. With people like this, it's literally just running in circles because they refuse to actually learn facts. Yeah, we're not living in reality yet. Who's the one who uses religion to drive their whole lives? But that's the real truth.
Like, this is the loving thing. This is just, this is loving. Whatever they want to do, it is whoever they want. Spectrum, please yourself, love yourself, gender fluidity. But there is no truth. There's no substance. There's no backbone. So
sorry. You're saying loving yourself, being true to yourself, going to lengths to live your own truth in your own reality. There's no backbone to that. There's no substance there. Really? This is like the worst video I've seen from them in a long time. This is really bad. They love gender roles and enforcing them until someone says they're trans or non-binary. Only then is it okay to be a feminine man or a masculine woman. Yeah, that's true. If someone comes out as trans, they're like, no, you're just a little feminine, or you're just a little masculine, or whatever the opposite of their presenting fucking gender identity is. Trans people have existed since people have. Yes, that's true. Because Christianity is rooted in dependent on self-hatred and shame. If indoctrination worked, I wouldn't be non-binary. That's a great point. Like think about like Caitlyn Jenner. Who indoctrinated Caitlyn fucking Jenner? She didn't go to school in modern time. Who indoctrinated I'm trying to think of more like famous trans people that are older, but it's hard. I mean, who indoctrinated fucking Elliot Page? He's like in his like 30s. I think I just realized what Matt is trying to ask. When we say when we say a woman is someone who identifies as a woman, he gets upset because I think his point is that if someone identifies as a woman, what is it they're identifying as? And to that we would say it's defined by aesthetics, since we can no longer define gender by genitalia. We instead define it by certain characteristics associated with certain genders. What is a woman? The safe answer is usually someone who is more femme presenting. Yeah, I mean that's the argument that he presents or he prepares for is, if you say someone who identifies as a woman is a woman, then you say, well, what is that? And it's like, that is, I mean, really, like, it's different depending on where you are in the world, but it's also like, it's a societal like expectation of action and presentation that you either live up to or you don't. Gender is so fucking made up. Yeah, you don't get it. All scientific fact was written in a single book 2,000 years ago, and if it's not in that book, it's not real. Yeah, Buck Angel, Blair White, horrible people, but very solid examples of like, okay, go tell Buck Angel that's a woman. Tell Buck Angel he's a woman. Make Buck Angel go in the women's bathroom. I'm sure all the women there would love that. I, for one, am only trans because Tumblr told me to be. Blair must be brimming with self-disgust. I'm sure the money helps.
It is like you're watching these interviews, and I want to play the one with the woman, but they are not living in reality anymore, is what it feels like to me. I mean, like you said, it's so emotion-driven that any semblance of...
They haven't brought up any facts, any statistics, any logical arguments. These people have only exclusively said, I'm so sad that these people aren't living in reality anymore. And they just keep saying that over and over again. Literally the trans guy that got assaulted in the women's restroom because he was told to go into. Yeah.
The truth has been thrown out the window. Play the short video with the woman.
And like, what is truth? You know what I mean? What can we like legitimately hold as a true, indisputable fact? Other than like physics, anything like socioculturally, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want to say about like gender that is like a true fact? Because in Matt Walsh's mind, gender and sex are basically just synonyms. They're interchangeable terms. When in reality, why do we differentiate between gender and sex if they're the same thing? Because we do. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. What is a Christian?
Who I think she was like a therapist?
She was a pediatrician / abortionist. So that's who I'm definitely going to be taking my child to. Someone who murders children.
What do you think, they're going to kill your child? That's so funny. I want to see them define reality. Just the word reality.
It also gives chemical castration medications to children.
Babies.
Are you talking about puberty blockers? Because that's not what that does. It's not chemical castration. It's not sterilizing anybody. Come on. Also, babies. Come on.
Babies are children.
Just trying not to get demonetized here.
Yeah.
What?
Male gametes. That's what makes me male.
No, your sperm don't make you male.
That's true.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality, in truth, okay?
Whose truth are we talking about?
Well, like, that's the thing that's so frustrating about Matt Walsh is he's so stupid that, like, whenever someone challenges him on what he's saying, he's just like, but for real, though. Like, no homo. What are we talking about? Like, it's just kids with precocious puberty have used puberty blockers for a long time. Yeah. Being on HRT doesn't make you infertile either. Exactly.
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
It's like they're
Play the full thing, asshole.
living in a completely other world.
Complete other world.
And they hate the idea of there being truth. And I'm fine if you want to debate what the truth is, but they hate the idea of there being any truth.
That's not true. That's not. You're fucking lying. Also, in my South Carolina high school, this boy said he was born prematurely, so his mom could have aborted him when he was born. Like, they're killing whole ass babies.
I just wonder, like, what happened to these people for them to become like this? And again, my thought is God has literally just handed them over to their delusions. And like,
Why would God do that then? Not to be like Reddit atheist, but like, what's your logic to like excuse that and explain that action by God? Like, are you constantly on the verge of like being like thrown into the void of non-reality and losing your mind or whatever? God, a B word for real.
like, it's just like, okay, you guys have refused me for so long. Here you go. Go ahead.
You know, there's Christian trans people, right? Not very many of them, for obvious reasons. They still exist.
Live in your delusions.
Makes me think of the Bible verse, the heart is deceitful above all things. And like, what is the motto of our generation? Like, follow your heart.
Wow, that's awesome. That's crazy. Imagine like thinking something as innocuous as like follow your heart, be true to yourself. It's like, that's an affront against God. The heart is deceitful all the time. Like, if you want to like interpret that literally, like, of course the heart can be deceitful. Like, that it's a thing that makes sense in certain contexts. But saying like the heart is deceitful all the time, don't listen to your instincts. It's very strange.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I wrote down a quote from one of the guys he interviewed who was like against all of this.
What if these guys would just do heroin? You ever think about that? It would kind of explain the way they act. You know what I mean? If they're just like fucking, just like mainlining black tar heroin. My heart wants me to be gay and trans. They literally believe that humans are inherently evil and sinful and need to be cleansed by God. Yeah, they did that. They'd be much chiller than this. Ever since I started using pronouns, I've been mentally ill. They do white tar heroin, yeah.
What not, but said
He's against, like, he was with Matt Walsh.
yeah, he's on Matt Walsh's side, whatever. And he said the West has created this belief that personal happiness is the key to independent flourishing. And if anyone is to get in the way of that happiness or journey to their happiness, they're just absolutely awful,
They're
disgusting,
bigots, they're
horrendous.
phobes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you feel so incensed as to interfere with someone else's happiness that is independent of you, then yeah, you're a bigot. Kind of by definition. Why does Paul look so mad? He looks like he's about to pop a vessel. I know, he looks so fucking pissed.
And that's just exactly what we see is, oh, you're not happy right now? Well, could it be because maybe you're in the wrong gender?
Who has ever said that? The most, like, Paul is about to fight pronouns for real. What I feel is like the most disgusting aspect of this mentality is that you're implying that transition is easy. You're implying that, like, if you're just a little sad one day, just some magical fucking, the trans fairy is gonna sit you down and say, hey, do you want to transition? As if trans people don't go through years of interpersonal turmoil and conflict and fucking pressure against transitioning from friends, from family, from media, from people like this, constantly, to the point where the trans suicide rate is astonishingly high, where trans domestic abuse is astonishingly high. But in these people's delusional minds, they think that if you're sad, you're offered a trans pill. Yeah, it's as simple as coming out. These are the type of people that spend their lives berating people outside of fertility clinics but kick their trans child out of their homes. Yeah, I hope their kid is trans so they can actually like maybe have an understanding, you know? I mean, not for the kid's sake. For the kid's sake, I hope it's fucking cis, because that's gonna be a hard life. My favorite thing about being gay and being trans is a choice argument. It's like, why would I choose to be gay or trans in a world where people want to kill me for it? In that case, I would just choose to not be trans. Exactly. It can't be a choice. No one would choose to live a harder life. No one would choose to have to question if their family will still accept them before they come out. And just about every queer person has to like have that conversation with themselves, whether it's easy or whether it's hard. Like every queer person has had to sit themselves down and say, if I tell any person, whether it's my best friend, my mom, my sister, my dad, are they gonna hate me? Are they gonna hurt me? Are they gonna try to hospitalize me? Are they gonna like cut me off? And that's something that no one would ever choose. Yeah, going to the store is scary for trans people and queer people.
Let's go down that path and see, and let's, whatever, mutilate your body as a teenager and you can never go back. And
no one's doing fucking surgery on teenagers. Sorry. Not really a thing. Even if it was, fucking who cares? Let them do what they want. Do you know what mutilates your body? Pregnancy. What do you are you in favor of circumcision? We mutilate ourselves all the time.
Ruin yourself medically. It's just
you know what ruins yourself medically? Pregnancy.
Say all in the sake of trying to make you happy. There were a lot of like different statistics revealed or talked about, and just scientific facts and proof talked about like the damages of transitioning and how
yeah, just some scientific facts and proof. It's like, yeah, transitioning when done in an environment that is not healthy, is not safe, is not reliable, like the United States often is, and when it comes to surgery especially, is dangerous. Which is why we should continuously advocate for safer conditions and better trained surgeons and healthier environments for trans people so we can prevent that from happening. It's the same exact fucking argument with abortion. People are going to get abortions. People are going to transition, whether we make it easy or safe or accessible or not. It's just how many people die in the process that you want to deliberate on. And I mean, I'm on the side of less people dying. Unfortunately, Paul and Morgan are on the side of more people dying. But they're Christians though, so. Yeah, any medical procedure sounds fucking gruesome when you put it down like that. Absolutely. A vasectomy? Are you fucking kidding me? You know how fucking brutal that sounds when you just describe what you do? At one point, I was getting harassed every time I left my goddamn house for being trans to the point where I couldn't go outside without having panic attacks. I'm sorry about that.
7 to 10 years after you've transitioned, where you should be to the world's eyes, through the world's eyes, you're happiest. That's when the highest suicidal ideation happens, when people struggle with that, which just doesn't make any sense if transitioning to a woman or to a man is what's gonna make you happy. So
that's not true. And the majority of trans suicidal ideation statistics come from trans people in shelters, by the way, who have been like abandoned by their family. She's saying that like post-transition suicidal ideation goes up. That's not true. There's so much more evidence showing that like as transitioning, as like hormones and transitional surgeries become more available, suicidal ideation, suicide rates go down among trans people.
So it's just like wild to me that so many people, specifically young people, are falling for this crap. And they talked about how like being online is really like what is causing.
So you're finding these online.
This is the same shit that they would say about gay people. You're finding these online groups. You're finding this group of friends, and they're all gay, and you think, why can't I be too? It's fucking sickening.
Groups.
Yes, the most damage is like young teens are struggling. They're going through puberty. They're feeling weird in their bodies. They're just trying to figure life out like any of us are.
Well, and Jordan Peterson, in a short interview, what did he say? Like, there are masculine girls and feminine boys. Are we going to carve them up?
Fucking Jordan Peterson. Classic trans expert. Why would God do that then? No, we're not. No one's getting carved up. Taking the autonomy away from trans people is so fucking gross, because you're implying that like they have no choice in the matter. Are we gonna carve them up? Are we going to carve them? Are we carving them up? Woke moralists are carving up my tomboys. I love them. Tomboy porn is at an all-time low. They all have penises now. Yeah, who's we here?
Right.
Oh, it's heavy, dude. This is heavy stuff.
Yeah. So these kids get online and they start hearing like, oh, I transitioned and I'm the happiest I've ever been, and or this is what I'm doing, and blah blah blah, or I no longer identify as a female, I'm non-binary, and like
Oh no. Like, arguably, if you want to advocate for like harm reduction, identifying as non-binary doesn't really change anything. Not every non-binary person goes on HRT or puberty blockers or needs surgery to feel like affirmed in their gender. You know what I mean? Yeah, who's advertising being trans?
these kids who are now stepping into this online group become like, oh yeah, that's what I should do, this is where I'll be accepted. And it's just,
If they're trans, then they're right. Yeah, what are you gonna say about non-binary, Morgan? Jesus Christ. It's Big Pharma and Disney all telling all these kids to be trans.
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
So kind of one interesting thing was,
I don't know if this was in response to something, but I love that like someone just types in the chat just Caffles. Nothing else. Caffles. Thanks.
you hear people say, well, biological sex or whatever, the binary of you are either male or female, that's a Western idea. That's a Western construct.
True.
And so Matt Walsh, in his kind of humorous way, he heads down to Africa. He heads over.
Oh my fucking god, I forgot about this. Famously, Africa has preserved all of its cultural traditions. And also, like, why do you have to go all the way to Africa? That's kind of interesting, right? It's kind of interesting he went to Africa and not to, like, a Native American reservation. You didn't have to go all the way there. It's very specific. You know what I mean? Very specific part of the world he chose to go to. Yeah, he didn't go to South Asia. Kind of interesting.
Over to Africa. I think there's a picture of that.
Nairobi, Africa.
And so he's got this interpreter, and he's asking the tribe, let's talk about biological sex, gender. Here's what is happening over in America.
Mm-hmm.
What are your all's thoughts on that? Did you have any takeaways from that conversation?
It was just really good. It was just like they wanted nothing to do with that. They were like, that is literally insane. And he, at the end of like,
Yeah, are those men wearing dresses? Do you think? No. Men in dresses? What is this, a fucking gay pride parade? Yeah, as if Christian missionaries aren't crawling all over Africa and have been for fucking centuries.
do any of you guys want to move to America now? And like every single one of them like laughed and was like, absolutely not. We want nothing to do with that. But like he was asking them.
There's a lot more to America than that. But that has become Happy Pride Month.
Yeah.
Everything points to this right now, it seems.
You see the Nike Twitter account with a fucking rainbow flag logo, and you're like, everything's pointing to being trans. Paul, if everything is pointing to you being trans or to like accept trans people, maybe you just might be trans.
Yeah, and he was just asking this tribe.
Yeah, Ghana didn't totally have this massive anti-gay movement funded by evangelical Christians. There's no like militant. Yeah, and that's a great point. There's no like militant organizations that have been funded by Christians in Africa to slaughter gay and queer people all over the continent in multiple different countries. And even if it did happen, like, yeah, it was like whatever, like 20, 30 years ago. They're probably all back now.
What is a male? What is a female? And they just explained it, kind of common sense. You know, you're born with a penis or a vagina. You, a male in our tribe has these roles, and a female in our tribe has these roles.
Gender roles are an entirely different conversation. Like, a man and woman's functions in society in terms of like what they do are explicitly cultural and explicitly like different based on where you go. Okay, but that wasn't the question either. It was what is a woman, not what is a female. Yeah, true. Yeah, they're still killing queer people in Nigeria.
Oh, but I thought that gender and biological sex was a Western construct.
Yeah.
Seems pretty stinking black and white, and the Western construct, if you will, has smeared everything.
It's fucking insane. Like I said, go talk to an indigenous person about Two-Spirit. Don't have to go very far. Don't have to go all the way to Africa, that's for sure. Go talk to Southeast Asian people about gender roles. Go talk to South Asian people about like South Asian like third gender things, you know? Went to a very specific part of a very specific country in a very specific continent that has been ravaged by Western colonialism continuously and to this day.
Complete chaotic gender confusion.
We have, ugh.
And it's tragic.
So
it's
sad.
tragic. And one thing that Ali B. Stuckey talked about on her podcast when she talked about
Yeah, and Africa is notoriously a monolith. Yeah. You talk to like 7 African people, everyone else on the continent.
gender and whatnot a few episodes ago, I think. And then something that they actually talked about in this documentary as well was, where did this whole like gender dysphoria concept come from? Where did this idea that you could maybe be born as a male and then transition to a female come from? And they talk about
you guys should, I mean, you guys, and it's like information that, and they even mentioned that like the powers that be don't really love this to get out because it's so dark and
it's
so nefarious.
So dark, you guys. Just research Alfred Kinsey and John Money. But they're...
Wait, his name is John Money. I think he might be trying to transition kids for money.
The 2 men who basically have formed the basis of gender ideology. A lot of like educational type resources that are put out in schools still to this day are formed or came from them.
I don't know specifically what they're talking about. Yeah, they invented gender. You know, we landed on the moon because of Nazis, right? Our foundations in science and culture. America was founded by slave owners, like brutal slave owners, who continuously skirted even local laws to maintain ownership over human beings. So yeah, sometimes when you go back to the root of something, you find fucking horrible people behind it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the interpretation of it decades, if not centuries later, is exactly the same. Fucking, it's like saying, you guys ever hear that fucking Kellogg's was started by like an evangelical Christian who wanted to stop masturbation with bland food? They're still just like that now.
These are 2 of
real, by the way.
Just
They're sick.
Nastiest, vile, most disgusting men that I have ever heard of. Like, it's demonic and it's so messed up.
And especially
I would love them to be as upset about the years and years of trans medical research that was destroyed by Nazi Germany. Maybe they would have more of an understanding.
guy with the last name Money, like he's considered.
He's literally doing it. He's literally saying John Money.
My knowledge, like the one who's ushered in and kind of founded the gender ideology that has been embraced.
Gender.
It's like this guy's literally the founder, ushering it in. Look at what he brought to the table. Look at the ways he went about doing his research, and it's sick.
All right. John William Money was a New Zealand psychologist, sexologist, and author known for his research into sexual identity and biology of gender. He was one of the first researchers to publish theories on the influence of societal constructs on gender and individual formation of gender identity. Under controversies, sex reassignment of David Reimer. During his professional life, Money was respected as an expert on sexual behavior, especially known for his views that gender was learned rather than innate. However, it was later revealed that his most famous case, David Reimer, born Bruce Reimer, was fundamentally flawed. In 1966, a botched circumcision left 8-month Reimer without a penis. Money persuaded the baby's parents that sex reassignment surgery would be in Reimer's best interest. At the age of 22 months, Reimer underwent an orchiectomy in which his testicles were surgically removed. He was reassigned to be raised as female, and his name changed from Bruce to Brenda. Money further recommending hormone treatment, to which the parents agreed. Money then recommended a surgical procedure to create an artificial vagina, which the parents refused. Money published a number of papers reporting the reassignment as successful. So he turned a cis person into, like, he fucking turned a cis man into a woman. He didn't take his penis away, but the circumcision removed the penis. So he was like, well, maybe I can like prove that gender is learned by like teaching a person. He later committed suicide. That's very sad. But he was trying to prove that gender was learned by raising someone from the ground up as a female who was as someone who was assigned male at birth. And they're saying this makes their point because he's like, oh, gender isn't learned. It's innate. And it's like, no, we're talking about sex, though. That's why it's called a sex reassignment, not a fucking gender reassignment. How do you fuck up a circumcision that bad? That's a great question. Money showed the two brothers pornography and forced the two to rehearse sexual acts. Jesus Christ. Money participated in debates on chronophilias, especially pedophilias. He stated that both sexual researchers and the public do not make distinctions between affectional pedophilia and sadistic pedophilia. Money asserted that affectional pedophilia was about love and not sex. Jesus. So yeah, I mean, he was a fucking pedophile. Damn, he died in 2006. Rest in peace. Yeah, I mean, he was a pedophile who mutilated a child. So I guess that's what being trans is. And like, even still, if he did research into like fucking biology of gender and sexual identity, like that's like separate from the fucking shitty things that he did. Yeah, trans people are always talking about John Money, famous John Money.
Just horrendous.
At least what we saw. I'm sure there was a lot more, but it's gross. It's
oh my goodness. We only had to hear
yeah.
one thing to know that these people are horrendous.
What do you mean these people? Who's studying at the John Money School of fucking Transing? I mean, come on, man. No one fucking knew this person's name before Matt Walsh brought it up. Do you know who Sigmund Freud was?
Fascinating.
But as far as what is a woman?
What is a woman?
And the fact that literally he went around the country asking people, and
he
really
asked like 6 people and then a tribe of African people.
One gave a good answer or literally just couldn't give an answer, or they were just like too scared to give an answer. It's
and,
just so sad to me.
Guys in the comment section, we know there will be people that watch this like are Christians putting pronouns in bios, and floods of people came in and they were
Matt Walsh asked every single American, but they had to cut it for time. He asked every leftist he could find.
Angry, and they were commenting all kinds of mean stuff and disagreeing with us. Fair enough. You guys in this video, go ahead. If you're in opposition to the stuff we're saying, the stuff that this documentary is about, comment what a woman is. Comment below, what is a woman? Because I'll tell you what I believe a woman is, what everyone believed a woman was up until 15 years ago.
Not true.
Which is?
Female human adult.
I mean, there you go.
It's not that complicated. Yeah.
Okay, a woman is a female human adult. Again. Why are we differentiating between sex and gender if they're supposedly the same thing? A woman is someone who will have sex with me. Yeah.
Who wants to bet they won't protest or make a video about circumcision and how that's wrong?
No, fuck no, they won't. Absolutely not.
Guys, we don't have to make it that complicated. We're making things so complicated because we're looking at our feelings and trusting our heart. And
dude, the shit that they're against is so weird. We're looking at our feelings and trusting our heart. It's like villains in a cartoon.
Looking to the world to tell us who we are, and looking at TikTok to find our solution for our depression and our anxiety and our panic and our pain. And we're looking for these answers, and they're just not going to be found on TikTok or even in a documentary. Like, the answer that you are looking for, if you are struggling with your identity in any way, shape, or form, whether you're confused about your gender.
Yeah, you know, it's almost like trans people, before they're allowed to transition, have to do like multiple consultations with psychiatrists and counselors. Oh, wait, they do? They have to do that? No, sorry, I just turned trans because I looked at a TikTok.
Or who you love, or what you like, or what fulfills you. Your answer is God. Your answer is Jesus Christ, and he is the identity.
Because there's this debate of all these different topics. What is truth in that topic? What is truth in this topic? And sometimes it should be just a common sense reality, but ultimately, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me.
He also said, I am the gender and sexuality too. So
like, even someone who's not a Christian still, through just the created order of things, should be able, with a critical lens, to see the truth in so many of these topics. But especially like us as Christians, cities on a hill, lights shining in the darkness that shouldn't be hidden. Like, we're supposed to be paving the way and being that light of what the truth is and pointing people back to Scripture. Jesus told Pilate, Pilate asked him, Jesus, what is truth? That's kind of an interesting little story in itself. Yeah, Jesus is the truth. And man, it's not just sexual identity that is like a giant struggle in 2022. There's all kinds of identity issues. And man, like, if we don't come back to our identity is found as sons and daughters Oh, Jesus Christ. Morgan, anything else you got to say?
I hate trans people.
Carrying a child. And
A child.
That is beautiful.
no one is going to take that away from me. And if we, as believers, don't stand up and pave the way to a win. Someone said this in the documentary, a dad actually, who was fighting for his 13-year-old daughter to not take these chemically castrating
Okay, but if that's what your kid wants, then shut the fuck up. It's like, it's borderline fucking abusive to like force your kid to not, I mean, it is abusive to force your kid to fucking not transition. I'm gonna steal Morgan's child. Yeah, no, I've known they've been pregnant for a fucking minute. Yeah, no, fuck that. I work for the Daily Wire, and I also love y'all's channel. Do you? Interesting. You both are awesome. Thanks for being something positive in the real world. In a world so negative and fake. Your wife looks so beautiful pregnant. Weird. Thank you guys for your tender hearts. Shut the fuck up. I forget to love these poor folks. I really want to know what they would do if their kid was trans.
medications.
You guys think like, oh, this stuff doesn't have any significant life implications. Canada is literally...
It's illegal as a parent to say no to your child.
Dude, are they still talking about fucking C-16? That's not real.
Whatever age.
To misgender them.
To misgender them.
What do you think they're gonna do? Put you in jail? No, it's just it's included as fucking hate speech to be transphobic, just like it is to be racist, you fucking morons.
It's illegal. It's considered literal abuse, and you will be put in jail. And you cannot.
Americans love telling these fucking horror stories about Canada that aren't real at all.
Say no to them if they say that they want to start taking blockers.
You don't just go to the store and get puberty blockers. Like, you have to talk to fucking therapists first. You have to be prescribed them.
And I'm not trying to speak for all, but it appears, according to this specific case, this guy, his 13-year-old daughter,
and yeah, like, what the fuck is your kid gonna call the fucking police to be like, I was just misgendered, and then they fucking bust down the door, put your fucking hands up. Like, really? In Canada?
The mom's going with her to start getting her pumped full of hormones, and he's like, no, I refuse to let this happen, and suddenly he's getting
He was put in jail.
And I believe
he has to go on trial in November. It's insane.
And his daughter's getting pumped full of them.
Good for that fucking kid. I'm guessing he's going on trial because he did something drastic to stop his child, not just because he wanted to stop the child. If he was like fucking screaming at the kid, telling the kid fucking transphobic shit, then yeah, sorry asshole, you don't deserve to have a child. Pumped full of hormones, man, like a fucking chicken on a farm. They're pumping our kids full of antibiotics.
And
of the hormones.
Something that he said was, look, we might not be winning right now, but if we don't try to pave the way to a win, nothing will ever happen, and we will always lose. So we have to keep trying. We have to pave a way, because he believes, and I believe, we can pave a way to opening eyes and bringing common sense back and truth and reality back.
Yes.
And I think it's a very scary thing. And I forget sometimes because I'm so used to Paul and I receiving a crap ton of hate. I forget how hard it is sometimes and how scary it is to
They don't
speak
really
out
get that much
on
hate,
social
though.
media, in your family, in your friend groups. So I don't want to
All these comments are fucking sucking them off nonstop.
take that lightly of that it's not a scary thing, because it is a scary thing to speak out against the way the world is going and speak out against that. But I am seriously
Can we get an Obama?
Obama.
There we go.
encouraging you guys to go to the Lord and pray for boldness. Pray for wisdom. Wisdom brings patience. Wisdom brings grace. Wisdom brings love. And it brings discernment and shows us how to go about these types of conversations in love, in truth, and in bold. Pray for them.
You heard her. You heard her, guys. Go to the Lord. Pray for trans people. Pray for trans rights, everyone. Can we just get a quick prayer break?
You're a safe place. You know how much difference you're called to speak the truth and love.
Just a real fucking quick prayer.
I get emotional. And the Apostle Paul,
He gets emotional. Sorry, Paul, we're praying right now.
speak up against it.
He's praying.
Amen. Guys, like I said at the beginning of this video, these topics, they, world mainstream culture,
nothing on this earth lasts forever. But with me and you, we do it together. This should be your pledge forever, forever and ever, forever and ever.
We don't get many brand deals because we've had brand deals canceled because of our haters that come against us. And
you guys are bigots, man. Take responsibility for it. And also, your views are bad. Your views are really bad, and you stream, and that's harder to get brand deals when you stream. I can fucking manage you guys and do a better job. Like,
what's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Anyway, that was bad. No brand deals equals oppression. Yeah, they have like a fucking massive Patreon too. They have like fucking 500 patrons and 3 tiers. They have 309 patrons. Oh no, they have more than that. They have 4 tiers. One-on-one Zoom call. Not only will your name be added in our regular monthly call, but we want to have a call with you when you join this tier to meet you and say thank you. It doesn't say how many they have of that, but still, like, 300 patrons is a lot. Become a patron? No fucking shot. Hi, ladies. I'm saying ladies because only women can get pregnant. It's not true. It's not true at all. You could call them as a group. Yeah, it would be awesome. Okay. A Zoom call with them. Do we get to help them plan their sex schedule? That'd be awesome.